हरि ओम। हो ओम श्री गणेशाय नमः। ओम श्री हिरण्यगर्भाय नमः। ओम श्री महाविष्णवे नमः। ओम श्री महादेवाय नमः। ओम श्री महादुर्गाय नमः। ओम श्री राम रामाय नमः। ओम श्री सद्गुरवे नमः। ओम सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांतिः। ओम गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुरेव परब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरं। भवानी शङ्करौ वन्दे श्रद्धाविश्वासरूपिणौ याभ्यां विना न पश्यन्ति सिद्धाः स्वान्तस्तमीश्वरम्। वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं। रामाय रामभद्राय रामचन्द्राय वेदसे रघुनाथाय नाथाय सीतायाः पतये नमः। बुद्धिर्बलं यशोधैर्यं निर्भयत्वमरोगता अजाड्यं वाक्पटुत्वं च हनुमत्स्मरणात् भवेत्। शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानामालयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ॐ नमः शिवाय 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 ॐ नमः शिवाय। नमः पार्वती पतये। हर हर महादेव। हरि ओम हरि ओम। So Bhagwan taught this beautiful path of Dhyana Yoga to Arjuna, that slowly we should withdraw our attention from everything else and place it on the self. The mind should be placed on the inner self and understand that self as Paramatma. So this requires steady practice for a long time with a controlled mind, with full focus and attention. So after listening to this, Arjuna had this doubt that this yoga, this dhyana seems very difficult. To maintain that steadiness in dhyana, Arjuna says, is extremely difficult. I don't see the possibility of this dhyana because the mind is very chanchal, very unsteady. Chanchalam hi manak Krishna. Hey Krishna, the mind is chanchal, very unsteady. Pramati, very turbulent. Balavad, very strong. Dhradam, lot of stamina is there in the mind. So if one tries to control the mind, it is as difficult as controlling the wind. See, as long as the wind is blowing very softly, smoothly, it seems very nice. But when there is the roughness in the wind, all sorts of harsh weather we will see. The wind can blow away, uproot huge trees also, and take away the roofs of houses, and it moves in different direction with tremendous force. Sometimes it moves like there is a whirlwind. So it's very difficult to control the wind. In the same way, very difficult to control the mind. As long as the mind is quiet and peaceful, everything seems to be very nice. But once the mind becomes wild, then we can't control it. So Bhagwan told Arjuna that what you are saying about the mind is true. Asamshayam mahabaho mano durnigraham chalam. This mind is very durnigraham, very difficult to control because it is very restless, it is unsteady by nature. But if one tries the proper technique, if one uses the proper technique, then it is possible to control the mind. However mighty the mind may be, with the right technique, we can control the mind. And what is the right technique? Bhagwan says, through abhyas and vairagya we can control the mind. Abhyas is a repetition, doing the same thing again and again. Here we have to every day practice bringing the mind again and again towards the self, using whatever means. Various mantras are there which we can chant, or Bhagwan's names are there which we can chant, or just remain alert, aware, and bring the attention of the mind again and again towards the self. So this requires lot of patience, lot of perseverance, and with this we practice for a long time, then the mind can come under control. But simultaneously with abhyas, we should also develop vairagya. Vairagya is detachment, dispassion towards all the worldly pleasures as well as otherworldly pleasures. Iha amutra phalabhoga viragaha. To be totally dispassionate towards all the pleasures of this world and the other world. Means make the mind free from its desire to seek happiness in the world outside. Through contemplation, through viveka, we can develop this vairagya. We can also develop vairagya through dosha drishti. Wherever the mind goes, teach the mind the defect and the shortcomings of the object where it is going to seek the pleasure. Teach the mind that those pleasures are temporary and they are the very source of all unhappiness. Like Bhagwan had said in the 5th chapter also, dukkha yonaya eva te. All these are dukkha yonis. Adyantavant kaunteya na teshu ramate buddha. All the pleasures of this world have a beginning and they have an end. And when they come to an end, we suffer more. So by educating the mind, also telling the mind that what we are seeking is much higher, the infinite, and that in that infinity, all the pleasures, all the joys, all the various happiness of this world and other world, all of them are included in that supreme happiness of the self. So when we educate the mind, so it develops that vairagya. Vairagya can also come through satsang. Constantly, we should keep the company of good people, or good books, or good thoughts, or good words. Through nowadays with all these electronic medias also we can listen to good pravachans. So constantly when we engage the mind in satsang, it will develop that vairagya. So satsangatve nitsangatvam. So through this twofold technique of abhyas and vairagya, the mind can come under our control. Yesterday I gave the example of the soldiers who are trained. Normally a person is afraid of death, and normally a person is attached to so many comforts and pleasures. But such a person, when he is trained properly for a long time, becomes a disciplined soldier. Then that soldier, if given command, is ready to face death, is ready to overcome all attachment to all pleasures and comfort for the sake of the country, to protect the country, to safeguard the country. The soldier is ready to sacrifice his life, sacrifice all his comfort. Similarly, however naughty or indisciplined your mind may be, that mind can be trained to be like a good soldier, and one command is given to the mind and the mind will implicitly follow that command. Because when we are meditating, we have to have the mind fully under our control. Then only we will progress on the path of meditation. And this twofold method alone is there: Abhyasa and Vairagya. Continuously keep on doing this Abhyasa Vairagya. Every day we should practice. Abhyas should be done regularly, every day, without a break. Go on doing it, and simultaneously Vairagya also. Further, Bhagavan says in verse number 36, Asamyatatmana yogo dushprapa iti me matihi vashyatmana tu yatata shakyo vaptum upayatah. Bhagavan says, Asanyatatmana yoga dushprapa iti me matihi. Bhagavan says, Asanyatatmana, one who has not controlled his mind through Abhyasa and Vairagya. Shankaracharya ji writes, Abhyasa Vairagyabhyam asanyata atma antakaranam yasya sa ayam asanyatatmana atma tena. So one who has not controlled the mind through Abhyasa and Vairagya, then yoga means dhyana, meditation, dushprapa iti me matihi, is very difficult to attain. The stability in meditation, the abidance in the self is very difficult to attain, according to my opinion, says Bhagavan. So, asanyatatmana yogo dushprapa iti me matihi. Then it leads to frustration, it leads to anger, it leads to headache. People without, first of all, we should gain the qualification to meditate. We should become yogarud. We should gain the proper, what you call, knowledge of the self. And then renounce all the attachment to all actions, drop all actions and meditate. And in meditation, we should have total control over our mind. So Bhagavan says, if that control is not there, then dushprapa iti me matihi, then this meditation is very difficult to obtain. But if a person has got that control, vashyatmana tu yatata shakyo avaptum upayatah. But one who has this control over his mind, such a person, when he puts forth effort to meditate through the path which Bhagavan has shown, कि संकल्प प्रभवान कामान त्यक्त्वा सर्वान शेषतः मनसेवेन्द्रियग्रामं विनियम्य समन्ततः शनैः शनैरुपरमेत् बुद्ध्या धृतिगृहीतया आत्मसंस्थं मनः कृत्वा न किंचिदपि चिन्तयेत्. So this path of meditation which Bhagavan had shown, when we follow it, we will definitely gain success, Bhagavan says. So for that, you have to control your mind through Abhyas and Vairagya. The problem we know and the solution is also there. We have to just follow it sincerely. So Vashyatmana tu yatata shakyo avaptum upayatah. Okay. So now So that question Arjuna had asked, that it is very difficult. Bhagavan says, yes, difficult, but if you try it properly, you will gain success in meditation. Now Arjuna is asking some more question. He has another doubt, very valid, interesting doubt Arjuna is asking. So let us read Arjuna's question. Arjuna uvacha ayati shraddhayopetaha yogacchalitamanasah aprapya yoga samsiddhim kam gatim krishna gacchati. Arjuna is asking this question कि suppose there is a dhyana yogi who is practicing this dhyana. So in order to practice the dhyana, he has given up all other activity and focusing his attention on this dhyana. But he may not have put forth complete effort. There may be incomplete effort in terms of abhyas, vairagya and that meditation process. So ayatihi, aprayatnavan yoga marge, may not have put forth complete effort. So, but has got all shraddha, has got lot of faith in Bhagavan's teaching and wants to attain that supreme goal and is doing the sadhana, but his mind is not fully under control and he has not achieved that steadiness in his meditation, but has given up all other activity. And he keeps on living in this way, and at the time of death, yoga chalitamaanasaha, his mind is not fixed on that yoga, his mind is not established in the self. So without gaining that final state of enlightenment, without gaining abidance in the self, mind is not steadily kept in the self. If this person dies, because once the prarabdha of the body is over, then death will come. If one practices this dhyana yoga, or death can come for anyone at any time. So a sincere person with full faith, shraddhayopetaha ayatihi, but may not have put forth complete effort to control the mind and to meditate. So his mind is not abiding in the self, and if during this process itself he dies, aprapya yoga samsiddhim, without attaining the siddhi of yoga, means without attaining that self-realization, without attaining moksha, without attaining that abidance in the self, if that person dies, kam gatim Krishna gacchati, hey Krishna, what will be the person's gati? What will be the person's destiny? After that, what will happen to such a yogi? What will happen to this yogi? Why? What is the doubt? So that doubt Arjuna makes it more clear in the next verse. He says, Kachinno bhaya vibhrashtaha chinnabhramiva nashyati apratishto mahabaho vimudho brahmana pathi. Bhagavan says, Arjuna says, कि कच्चिन्न उभय विभ्रष्टः छिन्न अभ्रम abhramiva nashyati. This person, having lost both the path of karma as well as the result of karma as well as the result of yoga, is it that he gets totally lost, totally destroyed? Kachinna ubhaya vibhrashtaha. See, when we want to follow this path of meditation, we have to give up our karma. That karma sannyas Bhagavan had said again and again. So when a person gives up karma, that means he gives up his nitya and naimittik karma, as well as his all nishiddha karmas were already given. The prohibitory karmas are given up, kamya karmas are given up, and even nitya naimittik karmas are dropped. Person focuses on meditation. So since that person has given up all his karmas, that person will not get the result of karma because he has not done any karmas. And he has not gained the result of dhyana also. His mind is not established in that self. So the result of dhyana is also not there for him. So is it that this person get totally lost, totally destroyed? Na yahan ka, na wahan ka. Like they say about the dog of a dhobi, na ghar ka, na ghat ka. He keeps on no loyalty for the home also and no loyalty for that ghat also. He has dropped, similarly this yogi has dropped all karma, so karma phala he will not get, क्योंकि सब छोड़ दिया है उन्होंने. And he has not gained abidance in the dhyana, so he is not getting that phala also. So is it that that fellow gets totally destroyed? Because this is very important question. People actually, therefore many of them are afraid that nay, if I leave everything then I will not get this and I will not get that also. So even when youngsters and all try to follow this path, many elders they discourage them कि इतने जल्दी क्यों करते हो आप ये सब, बाद में करो, रिटायर होने के बाद. अभी खाओ पियो ऐश करो, दुनिया को देखो. Because they are afraid if this fellow leaves everything and go on this path of spirituality, he will lose the fun of this world and he will not get anything there also. So totally lost both the places, na yahan ka na wahan ka. So very valid, very rational and very practical sort of question which Arjuna is asking, and only Bhagavan can answer such questions. So he says, he gives an example, कि छिन्ना अभ्रम इव नश्यति. Is it like that he get destroyed like a cloud? See, broken cloud. See, sometimes we see a huge patch of cloud in the sky. Then the whole that cloud, like a huge mass of cotton, it moves very smoothly in the sky. Then sometimes we see, due to some wind or something, one portion of that cloud gets separated from the main mass and start moving separately. But as it moves, that cloud which has got separated, it totally disintegrates and just gets dispersed in the sky. We don't see it. Similarly, in this world, we find that the main mass of humanity is moving towards the pleasures of this world and the other world. Most human beings, they are interested in immediate pleasures in this world and other world. Interested in artha and kama, not even dharma. And there is not much awareness of moksha. So just want to be safe, secure in this world and get maximum pleasure. Do minimum work, put forth minimum effort and get maximum benefit from this world. And as long as we are living, we want to be happy, peaceful, secure. We don't want to worry about death. We don't want to worry about what will happen after death. We feel these are all academic questions. No one knows the answers. And unnecessary theories are there. Some say we will go to heaven, some say we will go to hell, some say we will be born again. Some say we are never born again. Some say we will just lie in some grave till the redemption or something, Qayamat tak. So different faith, they have different ideas about what happens to a jiva after death. So non-believers, they think once die is gone, there is nothing which remains. Once the body is burnt or buried, nobody remains there. But there are those who feel that something remains, but it is not born again, but will wait. Therefore, many times, in some faith, they say that, oh, you rest in peace and all. Because after a particular time, everyone will be judged and then will be given the result. So we are not sure about what happens after death. So Arjuna is also asking, therefore he is asking this question, that one puts forth sincere effort on this path, but if he doesn't gain the result, no doubt Arjuna has got faith in dharma, so he knows that if we put forth effort in performing good karmas, we will get the result. If we do some special karmas, we will go to heaven. He knows, he has faith in that heaven and the importance of karma. But here the yogi has dropped all his karma and is practicing this meditation, but has not reached the ultimate goal of meditation, has not gained that steadiness in dhyana. So such a yogi, after that, apratishto mahabaho, he is not well established in that self. So such a yogi, totally becoming devoid of all support, nirashrayah. He has got no support of karma also, and he has no support of dhyana also. Such a yogi, he mahabaho. Here Arjuna is addressing Bhagwan Krishna as mahabaho. Vimudhaha, this is a yogi who has little deterred from his path, has not gained abidance in his path of Brahmana Pathi. On this path of Brahma, he has not gained proper steadiness, proper abidance. So he will not gain the result of this dhyana also, and he will not gain the result of karma also. Is it that he is supportless, he is totally destroyed? Bhagwan didn't say anything. So Arjuna again continues to explain his doubt. in the next verse also. So let us see. एतन्मे संशयं कृष्ण छेत्तुमर्हस्य शेषतः त्वदन्यः संशयस्यास्य छेत्ता न ह्युपपद्यते. एतन्मे संशयं कृष्ण छेत्तुमर्हस्य शेषतः त्वदन्यः संशयस्यास्य छेत्ता न ह्युपपद्यते. हे कृष्ण, Arjuna is asking, telling Krishna कि हे कृष्ण कि एतन में संशयम, I have this samshay, I have this doubt, I am not sure what happens to that yogi, whether he really is protected or he remains unprotected, he gets destroyed, he doesn't get the result of karma also, he doesn't get the result of dhyana also. I am not very sure about what happens to such a yogi. So, etan me samshayam Krishna chettum arhasi asheshataha. So, hey Krishna, you should remove this doubt of mine. Because if that doubt is there in my head, then I will not be able to follow this path with full confidence and ease. See, when we have such doubt in our head, then we don't follow this path. So, as it was said in the 5th chapter also, that is the samshaya atma vinashyati, that if a person has samshaya, he gets destroyed. If we have samshaya on the path, samshaya about the goal, samshaya about the teaching, samshaya about ourself, our own ability, samshaya about the shastra, samshaya about Ishvara, then we will not be able to progress at all. We will get destroyed. So here, unfortunately, Arjuna is saying that I have this samshaya and only you can remove this samshaya, hey Bhagwan Krishna. Because a jiva, however intelligent and smart we may be, we don't have the ability to know what happens after death. We don't know what had happened or where I was or in what form I was before death, before this birth, and I don't know what will happen after death. Our senses, our mind, our intellect doesn't have entry in the other world. In the sense, from here we cannot see the other world. It is beyond our vision. It is beyond the senses. See, even with our senses, there are so many things in this world which we cannot see. They are so subtle. But this life and death is so subtle that we will not be able to comprehend it with the means which are available with us, the senses, the mind, the intellect. Though a lot of scientists and all, they are doing a lot of research also to find out exactly what happens when a person dies. They try to use all the technology and all the gadgets to find out exactly what happens. But with all this technology, we have failed to understand what happens to that person after death. So Arjuna is saying that, oh Krishna, only you can remove this doubt. Etan me samshayam Krishna chettum arhasi asheshataha. You should remove this completely, my doubt. Because twadanyas samshayasyasya cheta na yupapadyate. Because other than you, I don't see anyone who can remove this doubt of mine. No devatas, no rishis, nobody can remove this doubt of mind. See, we have this Jagrat Avastha, we have Swapna, we have Sushupti, and then when we realize, we come to understand the Turiya also. But in the state of ignorance, we experience Jagrat, Swapna, Sushupti, and then we leave this body, then again in another body, Jagrat, Swapna, Sushupti, So the Jagrat Avastha is controlled and managed by Vaishvanara. The Swapna Avastha is controlled and managed by Hiranyagarbha. The Sushupti Avastha is controlled and managed by Ishvara. But even our life and death is managed by Ishvara. So here Bhagwan Krishna is the Sakshat Ishvara, Sakshat Bhagwan alone will be able to reveal the secret of what happens to a jiva after death. So there are those who believe only in the physical body, who thinks that after the body is destroyed, nothing remains. But then there are dharmic people who believe in the existence of that there is something different from this physical body. I am different from the physical body who exist. So they believe in the Sukshma Sharir, which exist after the death of the physical body, which go from one life form to another, which go from one loka to another. So here Arjuna had that belief in that jiva who exist after the death of the physical body. So he is asking this question, that what happens to this jiva that you alone can tell me. Tvadanya samshayasya cheta na yupapadyate. I don't see anyone who can remove this doubt of mind. So after listening to Arjuna's doubt, now Bhagwan clarifies it. Bhagwan says, Shri Bhagavan Vacha Partha Naiveha Namutra Vinashastasya Vidyate Nahi Kalyana Krit Kaschita Durgatim Tata Gacchati. Bhagwan says, Shri Bhagavan Vacha. Sakshat Bhagwan, that Ishvara, that Brahma alone, as who had taken avatar as Krishna, is speaking here. Shri Bhagavan Vacha. Bhagwan says, Hey Partha, hey Arjuna, you understand first this very important principle, that one who is following the path of goodness, one who is following the path of dharma, even if he doesn't succeed, even if he doesn't attain the result immediately, but if he is sincerely following the path of kalyana, nahi kalyana krit, the one who is doing good and following the path of dharma. See, karma yoga is also dharma. Gaining that self-knowledge is also dharma. Renouncing all karma, karma sannyas is also dharma. It's nivrutti dharma. Following the path of dhyana is also dharma. Because that dharma alone will steadily lead us to moksha. So this twofold dharma is there. Pravrutti, path of action, and nivrutti, path of meditation. So Bhagwan tells Arjuna that you understand this principle first. That if a person is following the path of dharma, whether pravrutti or nivrutti, understand that there is no destruction for this person. Partha na eva iha. He will not get destroyed, there will not be any harm for that person in this world as well as the other world. Na eva iha na amutra vinashah tasya vidyate. There is no vinasha. Vinasha means, here Shankaracharya ji writes, कि न अस्ति नाशः नाम पूर्वस्माद् हीन जन्म प्राप्तिः स योग भ्रष्टस्य न अस्ति. He will not gain a lower birth. He will not fall down from his evolution. He will not devolve I am using the word he, so he, she, it and all. Everyone is included. But due to the limitation of language, I am using the word he all the time. So he will not get destroyed in this world nor in the other world. See, this is a long yatra which we are on. And as we follow this path of dharma, we are progressing. We may not see, we may not be aware of it, we may not be able to pinpoint exactly how we are progressing and all, but we are progressing. Just like if you look at a tree, you plant a little sapling and then water it and put all the fertilizers and all, and it grows. Every day it grows, every moment it grows, but we will not be able to notice that growth. It is subtle. Similarly, every day when we follow this path of dharma, we may not notice it, but every moment, every day, we grow, we progress, we all move towards our ultimate destination. Just like Gangaji, when she starts from the Himalayas, she moves toward the ocean. Every moment, every second, it is going nearer and nearer to the ocean. Similarly, all of us who are following this path of goodness, we are progressing, we are going towards our destination. Sometimes we may feel that, I am facing lot of obstacle, I am facing lot of tragedy, what is this, Bhagwan must have forgotten me, and I am not getting the result of following this dharma. But that is also required, it is also given to us by Bhagwan. He is guiding us, he is protecting us, teaching us, educating us, and taking us forward, taking us towards our goal. Just like when we go to school and all, every day we have our in the elementary school or secondary school, every day we go, we learn, we are taught by the teacher. We have different classes, we have games, we have drills, we have music, we have different lessons. So as children we enjoy. Then suddenly the teacher comes and tells that tomorrow we are having a test. So everyone gets frightened, scared. What is this? We were enjoying our classes so nicely, and now you are having a test, giving us a test. We get frightened. But that test also is part of our learning. It also teaches us, it educates us. Similarly, as we progress on this path, Bhagwan now and then gives us some test which we have to answer. And he checks our progress and takes us further. So it may appear for some time that a person has devolved, has fallen down, but no, he progresses only. In Bhagavad there is a story of Jada Bharat. He was a great king. He gained Vairagya. He went to the forest and just sat there and meditated on Bhagwan. For he had only one goal in his mind. He renounced his kingdom, everything, and just spent his whole time meditating, gaining that abidance in that self as Brahma. But as he was practicing this dhyana, he saw in the forest one deer, a female deer, pregnant. She was running away from some tiger who was chasing her, and then she gave birth, but she went ahead and the tiger must have eaten her. So this little deer who was born, nobody was there to take care. So this Bharat yogi, he, out of compassion, he went there and took that little deer and protected that deer, took care of that deer, fed that deer, and kept it in the place where he was doing his dhyana. And taking care of every day, the deer was becoming strong and healthy and moving around. And this, he used to take care of the deer. And became so fond of the deer that even while meditating, he will keep the deer in his lap and meditate. Now and then will open the eyes and see whether deer is doing fine or not. So he got distracted. Most of the time he used to think about the deer. Then once the deer became slightly older, the deer went away. So he started thinking about deer, how the deer has gone, what must be the deer doing, hope it is safe, hope no tiger and all is after it. So instead of thinking about Brahma, he started thinking about that deer. And with that deer thought itself, he died. And due to these strong thoughts and samskars of the deer, he was born as a deer. But a very interesting thing happened, that even as a deer, he could recollect his past life, and he understood why he has become a deer. And he was quite amused and quite convinced about this, that my constant attachment to the deer has made me deer, and I have lost track of my main goal, and instead of meditating on Brahma, I meditated on this deer. So he decided as a deer that once this life is over, I will not distract myself in any other path or any other object or person or place, but focus on that Brahma itself. Then once that deer life became over, he was again born as a human being. But then he just was filled with that vairagya. He had no interest towards anybody or anything. Absolutely used to be disinterested in the worldly activities and worldly achievements. He used to just lie down like lazy. So people used to call him Jada Bharat, inert like. But he was a great yogi, and he had gained that that abidance in that self. So he became enlightened when he again was born again as a human being. And he taught this great knowledge to another king who was there. I think his name was Nahusha. So he taught this Brahma Vidya to that king also. So Bhagavan says that one who follows this path of Kalyana, nahi Kalyana krit kaschita durgatim tata gaschati. There is no durgati, there is no fall, there is no hindrance, there is no obstacle, there is no calamity for such a seeker. See, Bhagavan is there all the time with us, and those who follow this path of goodness, Bhagavan loves such a person, and he protects that person at all times. Later on in the 9th chapter also Bhagavan says that those who meditate on me, think about me, worship me, serve me, I take care of them. Ananyas chintayanto mam ye jana paryupasate tesham nityabhiyuktanam yogakshemam vahamyaham. Also in the 9th chapter Bhagavan says, Name bhakta pranashyati. My bhakta never get destroyed. My bhaktas are always protected. I am there protecting them. Just like a mother protects the child. All the time her attention is on the child. Similarly, Bhagwan all the time protects his devotees, and those who follow this path of dharma are Bhagwan's devotees only. All those who follow the path of dharma, which is revealed by Bhagwan in the Vedas, they are Bhagwan's devotees and they are protected all the time. So this Arjuna, you remember first, कि पार्थ नैवेह नामुत्र विनाशस्तस्य विद्यते नहि कल्याणकृत कश्चित् durgatim tat gacchati. There is no durgati for such a person. There is no vinash, there is no destruction for such a person. But exactly what happens to that person? Where does he go? After death, what happens? It's a great mystery. There is a beautiful Upanishad, Kathopanishad, where Nachiketa, he asked this question to Yamarajji. There is this doubt about what happens to a person after death. Some say he is there, some say he is not there. So what happens? There also Yamarajji gives that knowledge of the self. And there also he says, Yatha karma yatha matihi, that we gain our gati according to our karma and according to our mati. Whatever karma we have performed and whatever conviction and knowledge we have acquired, that will give the direction to that jiva, in which direction the jiva will go. See, for example, if I have a stone in my hand and I throw that stone, I am out in the garden, I see a beautiful tree with lots of ripe mangoes. So I pick up a stone, I aim at a mango and I throw that stone. So where will that stone go? That stone will go, where that stone will go depends on so many factors. What is the weight of that stone? What is the general environment there, whether it is a lot of breeze or windy or whatever. With what force and power I am throwing that stone, at what angle I am throwing, what is the trajectory of that throw. So if everything is known, then one can predict the exact trajectory of that stone, whether it will go and hit the mango or it will go and fall somewhere else. Similarly, this jiva, I, when I die, where will I go depends on my karma and depends on my mati. Mati means my convictions. Through these karmas which I have done, I acquired certain conviction about myself, about the world, about God, about papa, about punya. That also determines the direction in which I will go, the jiva will go, what sharira I will get or what loka I will go to depends on my karma and my mati. So what happens to this yogi who dies without achieving that yoga phala? What gati he will gain? That Bhagwan now will tell in the next verses that we will see in our class tomorrow. So till then you take care, do your sadhana, do your work, and remain safe, happy, healthy, peaceful, and we will meet again tomorrow. Today is a very auspicious day. Today is also Swami Paramananda Bharati, from whom I learnt the 4 sutras of Brahma Sutra directly, and from whom I also learnt Mandukya Upanishad, and I listened to his Bhagavad Gita pravachans. So today is his Punya Tithi. 1 year is over since he has attained that Mahasamadhi according to the Tithi. Today is the Punya Tithi. So I remember with gratitude and offer my namaskar to Swami Paramananda Bharati. Jai Shri Ram. Today evening I will be giving a talk on the occasion of this Punya Tithi. We'll give you information on that on our WhatsApp group. So you can, those who get the information, you can attend that session also. Otherwise, you just pray, do namaskar, and offer your gratitude to Swamiji. Shri Ram Jaya Ram Jaya Jaya Ram, 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 Jaya Jaya Ram, Jaya Jaya Ram, Bole Siyam Ramachandra Bhagwan ki Jai. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.